Good morning, day 140. My voice, I am healing. My voice is healing with me, so we'll see how it goes today. And boy, when you feel that way, you have that contrast, when you start to feel better, woo, that feels great, not just better. We've got a cloudy day here this morning after a stormy night. And it's beautiful, beautiful breeze, beautiful temperature. It's beautiful. So Ecclesiastes 5 through 7 is what I got through this morning. And it's really like, I'm like, what am I going to say? I don't really know. We'll see how it goes. And I'm still kind of processing. But my God helped me come up with the words mattering versus meaning. And of course, in this book, Solomon is kind of exploring the meaning of life because he wants to understand it. And not only that, he wants to know, why does it matter to me? Why should I care? Or why should any of us care? If we can't understand it all, and if there's nothing after this, or if we don't know, in all this hard work and toil and all the things we do, if we can't understand the full picture and the meaning of it all, why does it matter? Right? That's kind of what he's kind of wrestling with. And that we all do. Excuse me. And, but yet there's kind of this knowing. And I kept thinking about the nervous system. I've done a lot of work with my own nervous system the last few years and kind of down-regulating it. I think a lot of us in our modern times, our nervous systems are they stay fired up. And this can happen going way back in childhood. And there's a lot of us that if your parents were more on the foolish side, or your family of origin, or your community, and there's something in our brains, or more than just our brains. It's the whole system. It's the whole system. And your gut, your nerves, like everything is a whole system working together, trying to kind of navigate the physical and the metaphysical world. And while intellectually we might think that we get past things, or we kind of, because we need to, like if we stay too stuck in trauma, we can't move forward in life. So God has designed us to be able to sort of compartmentalize and at least function. But there's the school of thought, and you probably heard of the books like The Body Keeps the Score, and where a lot of stuff just gets stuck in our nervous system. And then we go and act in weird ways because of this, and we don't fully understand why. And then we keep passing that on generationally until somebody along the line goes, wait a minute, maybe there's a better way here. And stops and starts to examine and deal with what has been repressed. But it drives a lot of our behaviors. One of the verse that stood out to me that really got me thinking about this, and even reflecting on my own work that I've done, was in chapter 5, verse 3. It was talking about too much activity causes restless dreams, and too much thought, too many words. It was this idea of just too much. It causes like this restlessness in us. And you've had days like that, right? Like that's part of, I think, how I got sick and allowed my immune system and my whole system to be a little bit vulnerable to a virus that I was obviously exposed to, is that I was a little wired and tired there. I got so busy that I lost a little bit of sleep, and that causes that avalanche effect. And and not only that, but I was kind of what I call future tripping. You start just worrying about, well, what does this mean? And what does this mean? Like, we want to know the meaning of everything. We like certainty, and we know that things matter. But in order for our brains to sort of calm down, or our bodies to calm down, we kind of want to know the end game. Like, what does this all mean? How exactly? How is this going to play out? We want to have crystal balls. And when we don't have that, it can lead to that kind of your nervous system being on fire. In that fight, flight, freeze, you've heard of all of those things. And our systems are just not meant to stay fired up that long. And it's not healthy. So as he's kind of, going through these chapters and exploring, well, when we look at people that seem to live a good life, they seem to have a balanced approach to this. They work hard, and then they enjoy the fruits of their labor. They don't spend too much time getting caught up in what it all means, but they know that it matters. Like, you're picking up what I'm putting down. And there's a difference when we wallow too much and in chapter 7, he starts to go in this, like, think about death, because it teaches you that life matters. Going to funerals, feeling sad refines you. It makes you better. It helps you understand that things matter, even if you don't understand the full meaning of it all. All of these contrasting things. Like, I learned this week how much my health matters. Now, if I spend too much time just beating myself up and then also staying in the future, like, oh my gosh, look, I wanted to have this, and this done, and you weren't able to get it done. And then that creates all this anxiety versus just going, whatever, I went through this. I don't understand the full meaning of it. I know that it matters. I know that I matter and my health matters. And I'm going to take a more balanced approach to this. I'm going to do the best I can with what I have, where I am. And I'm going to trust that everything is happening just as it's supposed to. And that leaves me free and my nervous system more calm to then actually move forward in productivity versus I'm so behind, that most of us get caught up in, and that I was very much caught up in. And part of why I was turning to my nightly glass of Chardonnay and yummy snacks and foods and Netflix, all the things that I was, like, get me out of here, and hitting the checkout button as my form of self-care versus truly embracing the discipline of self-care, which is breathing, down regulating, learning how to regulate your nervous system, getting good sleep, eating nutritious food, movement, all the things that aren't as fun. But man, when you can be disciplined in doing them, how much freedom it actually creates in your life. It's the paradox of life. And we don't fully understand it or know the meaning of it all. But there's a knowingness in ourselves that it matters. Like, all of this matters. And I personally was thinking back about, again, to my family of origin, and where the root of a lot of my coping strategies and how I learned to deal with life came from my families. They were role modeling exactly what I did. And then I found myself looking around and role modeling to my kids, and then going, wait a minute, my mouth is saying one thing, but my actions and all of this is saying another. And a lot of us do that. We don't do as I do. Don't do as I say, not as I do, right? That's a saying for a reason. And it is, how do you get out of that cycle? It's hard work. Am I right, Peggy? And Oh, you're up early, girl. Oh, hey, it does matter. And we don't have to fully understand the meaning of it or how it all works and why. Just like I don't have to understand how my car operates. I need to know that it matters, that it works, and that it could get me from A to B. And all the other things and technologies, I don't have to fully understand it to know that it matters. So pay attention to your inner wisdom, your knowing, your nervous system knows things. Your gut knows things. They are not separate. You know, that's one of the things that really frustrates me. This will be another talk for another day. That really frustrates me about Western medicine is that we've chopped the body up into parts. We are a whole thing here. And we often now we've been taught to ignore the wisdom of our bodies and our guts and the whole thing. And slowing down and getting back in touch with that is when you start to go, in order to check out. I was just coaching somebody yesterday, and this wanting to check out that I was wanting to do too. The way to really check out? Check in. I know, right? It's the mystery. And I don't have to understand the meaning of it all. I just have to know that I know that it matters. And that doing these things are actually what bring peace, and a thing that I was looking out there to help me check out was helping me have chaos. And it was helping me pass that chaos down generationally until I decided to stop and take a pause and really evaluate and look at the whole thing. Let death be a teacher. He talks about that in chapter 7. Like, death can be a teacher. The wise think about death a lot. But it's not just thinking about death. It's about why. Why does it matter that I even think about this? Why does it matter what I do? If it's not about me and I'm when I'm gone, why do I care? What happens to my money? What happens? When you think that way and you think that it's meaningless and therefore it doesn't matter, you do all kinds of crazy stuff. And I come from a family that is riddled with suicide. And that stays in the DNA, in the nervous system. I'm not going to say in the DNA, but in the nervous system of the families left behind, or parents that make choices to drink too much or do drugs or all the other behavior that has a good intention. Like, they're looking for a solution. They're troubled. They don't, they're wrestling with these things. And they don't know any better. And I was left with a nervous system that was wrecked. And I didn't know any other way until I stopped. And I gave myself at least a little bit of a break to go, wait a minute, what's going on? To check in. And that matters. I don't fully understand it all. I don't have to. I just know that it matters. So I'm going to give my voice a little bit more of a break as I continue to heal, because I know that matters. And hopefully, I don't know, sometimes I don't know if it makes sense when it's coming out, but hopefully your inner knowing could kind of pick up on what I'm trying to I think this is what we all struggle with. We're like, I can't put it into words. We just know, right? When you can slow down enough to really think about it and check in with the wisdom of your whole self. You don't have to understand things academically. Our brains are like, or intellectually. Knowing something, this is where I stayed up here for so long. And now I'm learning how to let things go from here to here. And that's a whole different ballgame and a whole different way to live life. So I invite you If you're looking out there for meaning and ways to check out and escape, your nervous system is like trying to find solutions, try going inward. People talk about meditation and prayer and all of these different practices for a reason. And that's what they are too. They're practices. There's no point of arrival. There's no getting it fully. But it matters. It matters to check in and realize that there's more than what we can see, feel, touch, hear, taste, understand. And I don't know, let me know what you think, if it matters. And not getting stuck in a feeling of meaninglessness. And if you get stuck in yourself and what it all means to you, and that it needs to mean something to you, and you need to be, then you're missing the point. All right, talk to you later. Have a great day.